This episode, the Handyman Pros discuss kitchen and bath trends in the news. The Handyman Pros have a discussion about a recent article from the National Kitchen and Bath Association discussing trends and expectations in the remodeling sector. Welcome to the Handyman Pros radio show. Home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros radio show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and most of all, aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This edition's entitled Kitchen and Bath Trends. To help me explain, I am here with John, my old buddy and co-host. John, this week you have been...
I have been. I was actually over at a customer's at a place, and I was doing some work, and the lady had asked me after I got done doing some things. She asked me about remodeling.
Yes, and I've had several of those as well.
Yeah, and we're getting asked this a lot, and I ran across this article, but as we have stated before. We talked about the scarcity of materials and costs and things like that, and we a couple of the shows we did earlier, I believe, but we were talking about this. But I counseled her, that it might not be the best time to do that.
Yeah, this article. So, folks, just so you know, John sent me this article, and I have to tell you, this is what the Handyman Pros do in their spare time. We read articles on kitchen and bath trends.
Right out of I got this. I found this article out of Plumbing and Mechanical magazine. So so for all of you out there that are just kind of really, finding something
bored. Let's just say it. If you're bored, start going through the trade magazines.
Yeah, you can't get to sleep. They go. But I just peruse these things, and so it's been all over the news as we've, like I said, we had touched on this before in another show of what's going on right there, right? Why are the shelves empty? Why,
right?
What's going on with the things? Well, this article that I ran across kind of, confirms that.
But we don't want to rehash that, right? So what we want to present the trends is what it is.
Right. So, right, exactly. And this was from the Kitchen and Bath Market Index. Now, who knew? I didn't know that there's a Kitchen and Bath Market Index, the KBMI.
KBMI. Hey,
so there you go, folks. Once again, in this line of work, how fun is this, huh? So,
how fun is this?
So,
but there were some
article, as we go through this article, we just want to bring this, to light that there's these trends that are going on right now, and they just did a big research on it. And Larry, we know one of the big things that's happened.
Yeah, and the big thing, folks, and you already know this, is the pandemic is changing the way we are living in America today, right? I mean, people are working remotely. It has changed a lot of things about what we assume to be, I guess, the normal, right? I mean, we're changing the normal, right, John? To a degree?
Yeah, absolutely. It really has changed. And, you kind of think about it now. I've always worked out of my house not always, but for many, many years, I've worked out of my house. And, so it really hasn't changed much for me. But when this whole thing got put on everybody else and people start working from home, it really, it really did make a big impact.
Yeah.
See, I kind of moved into it over the years, so it didn't really bother me.
Right.
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 If you were one of those people who always went in the office, you always had to go downtown, and now you don't, you really, things really do get impacted.
Yeah. My wife's a great example of that. So her company, she works for a large telecommunications company, and they wanted you in the office. That was part of their, whether you could work from home or not, you were expected to be in the office. A little over a year ago, it was March, actually, in March, they said, nope, you're going to go home, you're going to work from home until further notice. And then about 6 months ago, maybe it was a little shorter than that. Time frame doesn't really matter, but they came to the realization that it is much more efficient for their people to be working from home. They've actually seen an uptick in their productivity. So they came out with I don't want to call it an edict, but they've come out with a new policy where their goal is to have 50% of their workforce working from home. This is a major corporate shift in culture. This is not like a knee-jerk reaction. This was done with data, the whole deal, right? I mean, this is not a small issue. This is not a flash in the pan trend, right? This is reality. So their goal now is 50% of the workforce is working from home. And my wife was scheduled into that portion of 50%. So she now we originally set up we're the handyman, right? So we set up the initial home office for her based on a folding table and, a computer hooked up on that folding table in a spare room, right? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Did all that stuff, right? Because I wasn't going to go and say, let's do a major remodel because you're working from home for the next 6 months. Right.
That's a great point. Okay. So, the first thing you do is you put up a table, you might be working off of a kitchen table. Okay.
Yep.
At first, because you don't know how long this is going to last.
Right.
This could have been a month. It's could have been a week. It could have been a month. But now it's all, like you were talking about, it's now the new edicts are coming out. Everything's going to be more permanent. But when you think about it, at first it was, it was kind of the DIY stuff, right?
Yep.
It was like, well, then, I'm going to hang a whiteboard on the wall. I'm going to create kind of my little office environment now out of the bedroom. And now it's one of those, I'm here now for good. And, if you're a conscientious worker, like I hope everybody is that, now you've got to feel professional sitting in a real office instead of sitting at a kitchen table or something like that. So now those DIY projects, and that's what this article it indicates as well, have moved past this pandemic DIY project to more serious projects.
Right. Different scale.
Remodels.
Yeah.
Bigger
scale. Bigger projects, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that was one of our great takeaways out of this article is, we kind of knew that was happening because I knew it because it's actually happened in my life, right? Being here at home. And you've always worked out of your house, so it's not such a big deal for you. But we're seeing this more and more just kind of across the board where we're now having our customers are actually contacting us saying, I want to remodel the basement or I want it because now I'm actually at home all the time. I have one client wants to build an ADU or an auxiliary dwelling unit. They want to actually build a remote whole house, basically complete with facilities out in their backyard. And because they can, they've already looked at the permitting and all that kind of thing. And so anyway, but this is a major shift. This is not just what would you call it, John? This is a real trend. It's a real trend. This is real.
Right.
This is here for a long time. It's not here just for 6 or 8 months.
Right. And hence this article is, they call it the kitchen and bath trends.
Right.
And what they're dealing with here is, just the construction and the remodeling and construction materials and labor of these trends, what that impact is. And we all have a sense of what that is, but this really does bring to light some specifics in those trends, because as we just said, that the DIY has run its course. So the smaller projects now they're getting more serious. So people are really engaging in these larger projects and remodels. Well, lo and behold, so is everybody.
Well, and this is because everybody this wasn't, how do we want to say this? This wasn't optional, right? So it was last, I guess 2 Marches ago at this point. Oh, that's kind of hard to believe. But anyway, in March of 2020, was it 2020? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, March of 2020, we sent everybody home. So effectively what that's done is it's created a bubble, a demand bubble, right? So now, and now we're seeing the backside of that, not the backside, but we're actually still in that bubble because in case you don't know this, but, in our case, John and I are one guy or 2 guys, we can get so much work done in a week, and that's all we can get done. And John, is your schedule full?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For how long?
Yeah. I don't know the end of it, to tell you the truth. I kind of put my own end to it, at times, right?
Well, John,
but,
that's just
you know,
because
there's always you know there's always work here. So, you know, this demand bubble that you're talking about is working its way through the supply chain.
right, right, and
And there's a couple of hiccups that have gone on over the course of this as well. That's really impacted that.
yes,
And,
we've discussed all of that. You know,
Yes.
we've discussed all of that, and some of them are kind of black swan events, aka the ice storm in Texas was a bit of a black swan event, meaning it just they're not uber common. You know, it's not uber common that you go into Texas and you have frozen things. John, as a kind of an aside, I was talking to a customer the other day, and he's a new customer for me, and he actually works for a chemical company, and he has facilities in Texas, and he said that never
Was
in
that
his
the guy with the meth lab?
no, yeah, something like that. that was just your buddy that you introduced me from when we were in prison together. But that's neither here nor there. People are going to get tired of that prison joke. Anyway, no, he works for a petrochemical company that has facilities in Houston, and he said the ice blocks were immense around the valves, and it disabled the valves. And that's just something that Texas is just not used to. And he said they shut their facility down. They had broken pipes in their chemical facility. The whole deal, 3 months they were down. You know, 3 months.
And you know what?
Real
it
story.
It just happened here with you know, everybody's heard of Colonial Pipeline.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and once the fuel, gasoline, oil is shut down, well, guess what? Everything is shut down. I mean, plastics, everything's made from it.
Yep.
So that is another piece of this supply chain nightmare that has happened. You know, as it works, as the demand works its way through this whole equation.
Yeah.
So
the article actually talks a lot about transportation as well, does it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just how we've really overtaxed our transportation systems through this because everything works in just in time and all of that kind of thing. And again, we don't want to belabor it,
Right.
but you know, then the skipper decides to turn his boat sideways in the Suez. You know, come on, dude.
Right.
No, that was an accident.
Yeah, that was a whole nother thing. So you know, it's like we talked about earlier before our show. It's almost like a perfect storm for this building.
Right.
The whole industry.
Yes, the whole industry. It's not just, you know, in the
Right.
handyman side or whatever. It's across the board.
Right. So, you know, when I took a look at this article, it was kind of things like, you know, Larry and I were talking about this and saying, you know, folks, if you're out there looking to do some of these remodels, you know, some bigger projects that's beyond, you know, DIY and those kind of things, you really got to, you know, hire, you know, contractors and that whole thing. I know that Larry and I were talking earlier on a different show is, you know, you might want to push that thing off until next year. But it is incredible the amount of demand that is going on right now for these big projects.
Yeah, and it's steadily climbing. We think even this article says that we're in a bubble right now, but it's going to subside, but there's still going to be a huge amount of demand until in the new home sector they start building in some of these. How would you describe it, John? Just as a kind of like building home offices, really purpose built, you know, home offices kind of thing.
Right. You know, just to cite something coming out of this article is that you know, they were the designers, if you will, right? You know, you got to start off with a remodel. You might get a designer, and these people are, you know, they're going to come in and, hey, you need this is the way you want your kitchen to look, so on and so forth. There's a 61% increase in the average size of projects.
Yeah, just from a size perspective, that is immense.
Yeah, that's huge.
I mean, it's immense.
That's huge. You know, and one of the things it says here, and one of the main obstacles is sourcing affordable materials, as delays and price hikes make it difficult to maintain profit margins.
Yep.
So you can see everybody's caught in this thing.
Everybody.
You know? So it's a weird thing, you know, when you think about how complex the building industry is. You know, everybody is caught, from the contractors to the manufacturers to the homeowners.
To the government, because even the government's been having problems, like getting a home inspector or getting a permit has actually been slowed pretty tremendously, actually, because of some of the restrictions on COVID and things like that. So it's been difficult to even get permits and get inspections done because of the health concerns, which is very valid. It's not an argument about it, but it's a reality, I guess. I don't know how else to say it.
And I think part of it is too, Larry, that the government's not going to scale as quickly as the private industry, so they're gonna, something happens there, a hiccup there is going to be carried on for a little while,
for a little bit, yeah.
Versus in the private sector. One of the other things I saw in here was of all things is that now you have experience with this, and I'll let you talk about that. But appliances have been the most difficult products to source. It says with 51% of designers having difficulty sourcing refrigerators, ranges, stoves, and dishwashers.
Isn't it crazy? I mean, I think it. I don't know. I'm speculating here, but I think it's just because they're at home. I think they have. I know we do know the savings rate is up. This isn't mentioned in this article, but we know it from other sources.
That's true.
Stuff that we talk about. They're not traveling, so their vacations last year were all put on hold, and they're basically. My opinion is that they're looking around the home, going. I know my wife did. She looked at the dishwasher. She said, "I want a new dishwasher." Because I'm sick of looking at that old dishwasher, and we're not going on vacation, and so we're buying a dishwasher, and. Right. That surge in demand, I think, it's a combination of things. Obviously, it's also the fact that the manufacturers had a shutdown period for a bit, where they weren't actually producing. But it's still it's been this perfect storm. We've talked about that before, but it is this perfect storm. And getting appliances is don't assume any. Boy, I say this now to all my customers and things. Don't assume product. Don't even assume it. Don't assume we can get it. Number one is I'm not going to commit to anything unless I have it in my hands, literally, right? If I don't have the materials in my hands, I can't commit to a project being completed on time because I just can't. Right now, I mean, just for example, folks, I'm doing a bathroom remodel. I'm waiting on the toilet, and one cabinet, and it's been 12 weeks, I think, we're waiting on this stuff.
And that's another piece right there is, cabinets are there's some scarcity in cabinets.
Well,
because of lumber and things like that, I mean, they're getting, there's a real lead time on those things.
Real lead time. And I think a lot of it, too, is that I think it gets back to my original statement. People didn't spend money on their vacations last year, and they're like, I'm sick of looking at those cabinets. I'm really sick of looking at those cabinets. And so away they go is what it is. But folks, order your cabinets. Don't take your cabinets down until you have them delivered.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the takeaways here is to really is to plan for this extended lead time. That's what we wanted to bring to your attention if you're not feeling it already out there. The other thing that I saw here was that consumers are opting to pay for higher end products and finishes.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Also,
so we're moving past. So I think to your point, Larry, there's pent up demand, and but also that there's spending, right? There's this money that's accumulated here, and I think people are like opting to now start to buy better, appliances. And they're, better finishes, better. All of that is taking place because they have more money.
Right.
It seems like to put into this, and it says refrigerators and ranges, stoves are seeing the highest price climb at 12 to 11%.
I don't know how you get 12 to 11. Oh, I guess that's refrigerators versus ranges and stoves.
Yeah,
okay, got it. Never mind.
So that it's quite interesting what's happening out there. We're hitting a little bit of an inflationary thing here going on, and expect prices to go up, and then what I was talking earlier about scaling for demand, they're having a hard time finding people to work.
Yeah, to actually do the work. I was going to say we need to talk a little bit about labor, and this is the same thing. And both John and I, we do the handyman business full time, and we both some of us do it a little more than the other one. But anyway, just picking on you, John. But if you're if you've lost your job and you're interested in learning some of the trades, and I don't care what trades you're in, we've talked about this many, many times, but tremendous opportunities right now if you have any kind of skills at all in the trade. So if you're a carpenter, or if you can do roofing, or if you can do plumbing or electrical, and if you're licensed in any of those things, the world is your oyster right now. I mean, you are so busy you wish you weren't in so many ways. It's just crazy, and labor is. Folks, are just not as many people out there wanting to do these jobs, and so it is creating that backlog of time. It just takes time before people can get on your jobs. I think the thing I'm trying to say is be patient with your contractors too, because they're running up against many business issues they've never had before in their life either. Nobody ever thought it was tough to get electrical boxes until this. I mean, seriously, crazy, right, John? It's crazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. And the other thing is that, it's not only the materials that they're dealing with, but we just talked about it. It's their labor force. It's they're dealing with these contractors who have guys and girls on their staff, right? They're at the report here once again that says 60% of the companies report increasing labor rates to retain current staff. And labor rates are going up 10 to 19%.
Yeah, that's a pretty good rise, I'd say.
Yeah. So, bottom line is that this report confirms a lot of things that I've been seeing out there. That materials, to summarize it, materials are going up. They're hard to get, and labor's going up. So, boy, I tell you,
set your expectations, folks.
Set your That's a great way to think about it. Set your expectations, because if you want that new bath or kitchen that you want to contract out for, be prepared to put out some more dollars and
take longer than you think.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
It's going to take longer than you think. John, are we going to post that up? Can we post that up on the Facebook page?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and post this up. I thought it was everybody can read through this whole article here. But
that's if you can keep your head from nodding off.
Right.
The things we do for this show, John. I mean, come on.
But it is just from this aspect, when I looked at this, to say, everybody in the business, no matter who it is, I'm seeing these kind of things coming out everywhere, and I hope that at some point in the not so distant future that things start to settle back down as we get things under control. But Larry, I mean, like we said, you walk around the big box stores, and boy, there's either a scarcity or things are just really expensive.
Yep.
Where they weren't before.
Yeah. Well.
So it's just expectations.
Right?
Yep. And I had to do that with my neighbor who wanted me to work on the basement. And
see,
that was.
I solved the problem, John.
You solved. Well,
I did.
Problem solved.
Well, I'm a solution specialist according to my business card. It's what it tells me.
Yeah,
anyway,
put that on your business card.
I'm a solution specialist. That's right. So you know how I solved the problem, John?
What's that?
Did you know that the other day when the alien came down and landed in my yard, and I went into his ship to take it apart? You
can stop right there. No.
It's not going where you think it is. I found out. Do you remember on Star Trek when they had the replicator? Dude, that's true. I am producing materials in my backyard by hitting this button, and this stuff just magically appears. Of course, I don't understand why my neighbor's cats have been disappearing lately. But anyway, be that as it may.
Unbelievable. Well, we'll have to bring some more alien stories to you if you saw some of the articles lately. It's quite incredible what's going on out there.
You're teasing them, John. We're doing a show on that one. I'm telling you, you're teasing them. You're teasing them. Folks, if you have any questions, comments, and other sorts of things, if you enjoy the Handyman Pros radio show, if you enjoy John's and my information that we put out, just please tell your friends and neighbors and give us some shares. Give our information out to people. We hope we're valuable to you. If we are valuable, if there's something you want to hear, please send us a comment, send us an email. Pull your phone out right now. Write questions at handymanprosradioshow.com and send us an email, and we will answer it. It might take us a while. But we do answer all our comments. We've gotten some great feedback, and we've actually helped several people save many thousands of dollars. So by not making what we deem to be inappropriate actions or bad mistakes, basically. Don't make this mistake.
I want to thank. I was going to say, in closing here, to thank everybody that's participating on the Facebook page. I find it fun. People are asking some really good questions, and I like the interaction. So hopefully that this will grow as well.
And we will put you on the show if you want to be. So if you actually, I will put this out there, folks. If you would like to be a guest on the show, send us an email, questions at handymanprosradioshow.com, and say you want to be on the show, and give us a quick spiel. What do you want to talk about? And we will entertain that thought. So there you go. Johnny, got anything else?
That's it.
Folks, we will see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.